Welcome. This is the weekly announcement for week 11, and what we are doing this week is revisiting layouts. Just like we did earlier in the semester with positioning, we have a series of exercises and what's called layout revisited that need to be done this week. We also have some progress and work that we need to do regarding our personal site homepage. And then finally, it looks like you have self-assessment survey worth 2 points and a student evaluation of me, the instructor. So make sure you make time to do these things, the first of which is the layout revisited. So let's go look at that. In this activity, we will take another look at positioning and layouts with CSS. And you can see I have the grid alignment CodePen tutorial here, as well as the CodePen alignment exercise here. And I'll be going over that today. So if we come on down here, there's another video I published, which you've probably already watched, called Grid Practice. It's where I go through some of the levels of Grid Garden using CSS. I encourage you to go watch that so that you can be informed onto how to use grid area and how to just get a review of the display grid properties regarding the content boxes and the item boxes. So what we will do first is come on down here and make sure that you are clicking here to access the Grid Garden game. Once you finish all 28 levels, okay, you will be pushing next, and it's going to jump you to a page like this. It shows the Flexbox Froggy hopping on top of these carrots. Make sure that you take a screenshot of this page because it shows the completion of the Grid CSS Garden. So I do want you to submit that as a file upload. I have since corrected the mistake that was published, which only allowed a URL. So we'll allow a file upload now of this screenshot. So screenshot it and you should be able to have it. If you look here, I'll show you my screenshot in the WDD 130 folder I've made, and I think I titled it Grid Garden Screenshot. So there's mine. Again, I launched Paint in order to publish the screenshot. So I opened Paint, I pasted the screenshot here. To take a screenshot, push the print screen button on your keyboard or use Command-Shift-3 on a Mac, and then go find that screenshot and then upload that for this portion of the assignment. So let's close out of that. Let's back out of CSS Grid Garden. The next thing I would encourage you to do is to watch both of these videos. It highlights how to use this grid element, or I should say this grid styling, with our elements, just like we'll be doing with CodePen on the next series of tutorials with layouts. So after you watch both of these videos, you are well prepared to understand this new vocabulary. The justify content and the justify items helps to align grid items along the what I call the vertical axis, because essentially if you justify content and the items, it's going to push it right or it's going to push it left along the page, as you see here. And I'd like to just demonstrate. So if I were to have something like justify content that's centered here versus left, okay, you'll see justify content. Let's put both items and content left of one another. Okay, you notice justify items left, it's moving them left. If I justify items right, it's going to move the items in the container right. Okay, so that's kind of justify is moving left and right. And if we do align, okay, you see it's centered now. If we put that maybe at start versus end, you'll see what happens. So align items at the start. Okay, it's kind of pushing it upwards now at the first row. So the way I look at it visually is justify. The content is regarding the container, and justify items is regarding those elements inside the container. It's specifically the reds, the greens, and the yellow divs inside of this bigger div. So to adjust the content, we use align content, justify content. To I should say justify or align the divs inside the content div, we want to target items. And if you want them to move vertically up and down along the page, use align. And if you want them to move left and right horizontally, use justify. So I hope that's a little more clear. And again, if you want to just center things, you just boss it around and you declare that you'd like to center things horizontally and vertically. Okay, so I hope that's a little more clear. And that's what this CodePen exercise has you do. If you click the hyperlink, it's going to open up exactly what I was just demonstrating. So I encourage you to go through that. Remember, there's the important flexible unit, okay, or fractional unit that you can use to designate columns and rows for your grid. Okay, so that's essentially the grid that we just demonstrated with 1. It will walk you through how to work example 2. So I would just scroll down, and I would even push Control minus or Command minus to zoom out on your web page so that you can see the full image more clearly. And essentially that's what you start with, but as we look at content 2 that we're styling with CSS, you can see that we've assigned it, or it's actually been already assigned a width. Okay, we adjust the width to like 50%. Okay, it's shortened what exactly? Well, the box is the same size, but again, content 2, if you look at content 2, that's actually targeting this big div that contains these smaller colored divs. Okay, so when you adjust the width for the content, you're adjusting the width for that box that we've styled with a border. Okay, and again, we could change the border to 15 pixels just to get a better idea. We could also change it from being a solid line to a dashed line. Okay, and essentially that's just showing you the parent container. Okay, is what we see here. We could target 10%, 100%. We could give it a height to occupy the space with. Like if I adjusted this to half the size, is it 250 pixels? Is half of 500? And just gives you an example. Wow, so that's what's going on? Yeah. Essentially, when you target a class that you have assigned to a div, okay, called content2, we can give it those same style properties we've been doing earlier on our web pages. Target things like width and heights and borders. But essentially what this assignment teaches you when we revisit layouts is how to do things properly and display them with grid. Okay, so you'll see there's a grid template. We must establish the columns we want this area to occupy, as well as the rows. And then what we learned in this unit, okay, this week, is how to align things within the containers using justify and align. And remember, justify is to go left, right, and align is to go vertically up and down. So go through these tutorials, and I think it will make much more sense once you've finished these 3. So I encourage you, go look at example 3 now, okay, and that would be content 3, and what you want to do is look what happens when you center things versus leaving them at the left side or the right side of the page, okay. Let's go see if we justify things left, right, it moves them right, left. And if we justify the items right, okay, watch this. Okay, why did it move over here? Well, because the items simply move to the right of the container that I've justified left. Okay, so essentially, if you want to see drastic changes, you have to probably think about targeting the content with justify and then the items thereafter. So essentially, there's a lot of power that can be utilized by using justify and align property. And you'll see more of that explained in the 2 videos. So please watch those and then jump into these. So don't skip steps is what I'm saying. Now, most of you are probably confused with the step 3, which is a little more advanced. It's giving you some example that we need to duplicate. The cataract of Lodore. And it has these paragraphs inside of each content box. So let's go look at that next. Okay, if you launch this CodePen, you're going to get this one. And essentially everything's going to be flush left or justified left without changes. And what we've asked you to do is to follow these steps. In the alignment of the poem, all of these instructions 1 through 10 are simply summarizing this image that we see here. So I hope this helps you looking through this example. You want to target each of the paragraphs and adjust them with text align center, left and right. And then the block elements you use with the margin property to center those, left those, and right align those. So in addition to this, okay, make sure you take your screenshots Okay, and upload those screenshots of both of these completed items, this and the grid garden. Good luck. If you have questions, let me know. I've adjusted it to accept file uploads. Okay, see you soon. Bye.